G'day guys, welcome to another edition of Aussie Boxing Talk. The show literally hits you right between the eyes. And hang on a second. Now I've just cleaned up all the egg that I've had on my face before, as you can see. Here's my egg. I'm going to get shit everywhere. And I'm going to eat the egg as well as my own words. Because this is oh fuck it, I'll eat it later, but there's the egg. But as I said, I'll probably eat it during the video. Actually, I will eat it during the video because I've got to eat the egg off my face because, as we've just seen, Terence Crawford absolutely dominated Saul Canelo Alvarez, and I've got egg on my face. I've got to eat my own words. As I said in the previous video, if this egg's fucking shit. This is fucking me video. Look at this shit. As I said, that if Crawford won, I would admit that I was wrong, which I was, and eat the egg off my face, and here it is. So, Crawford absolutely dominated Canelo. I mean, what an absolutely great performance. Now, I said that Canelo would beat the dog piss out of Crawford, and that was a one-sided mismatch, and I was dead wrong. Crawford absolutely dominated Canelo. I think the scorecards were bullshit. I thought it was... Actually, one had it... I even gave it 9 rounds to 3. I'd even say 117, 111. I didn't see Canelo winning 116, 112, 115, 113. There was no way it was 7 rounds to 5. That fight was 9 rounds to 3, 8 rounds to 4 in favour of Crawford. The right man won, but the cards were not as reflective as they should have been. Crawford, for a man to move up 3 divisions, not just 1, not just 2, I don't really count the fight against Madrimov, but to move up 3 divisions, to go from welterweight to super middleweight, dominate the number 1 fighter in the division who's 11-0 at super middleweight, is absolutely astounding. Terence Crawford has just become the best boxer of all time. And for those who are a little bit older, they're around my age, in their 40s, know that Eddie Murphy needs to make another Coming to America. And if you know the reference, you know what I'm saying. That pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson's the greatest fighter that ever lived. Pound for pound, Terence Crawford is now the greatest fighter that ever lived. Or the greatest achievement. So, I was talking to the chump McAllister before, and he said, oh, well, Usyk's beaten, Joshua, Fury twice, and Dubois twice. And Crawford's only had 1 win, but, well, look, 3-time undefeated champion. No one's ever achieved that. No one's ever achieved that. So will everyone do that again? Probably. I think in a way we'll do it at featherweight. But at the moment, that is just a phenomenal achievement by Terence Crawford. Everyone should acknowledge that he's probably the best boxer of this generation, if not of all time. Because no one's ever done that before. He shoots straight to number 1. So, maybe number 2, because, as again, Usyk has beaten those guys that were vastly bigger than him. Excuse me. Got to eat more of this egg. Because as I said, I've got to eat the egg that's, run off my face. But, Crawford, what an absolutely dominant performance for someone who's 37 years old, almost 38, to beat a younger, more active, stronger man. And there's no excuses for Canelo, so I don't want to hear Canelo fans saying, oh, Canelo's been fighting 65 fights and he's long in the tooth, his injuries are caught up to him. I don't want to hear that shit. Canelo got dominated by a far superior fighter. It's as simple as that. Simple as that, right? He got beat by a far superior fighter, right, that made him look, like he was, well, certainly in the same league as Crawford, but just made him look, not as dominant as he was. So, will there be a rematch? I don't know. I don't care. Should there be one? Yeah, I think Canelo deserves a rematch because he put the belts on the line, so they should do it again. Will they? I don't know. Does it tank Canelo's legacy? I don't think so. I mean, some people think, well, the thing is that this was not an upset. There's a lot of people out there that thought that Crawford would beat Canelo, so how can that be an upset? This was a 50-50 fight where just as many people thought Canelo was going to win as they did Crawford was going to win. So it's a 50-50 fight. Even though I thought it was a one-sided mismatch and it turned out to be a dominant performance by Crawford, it was a 50-50 fight. There were just as many people thinking Crawford would win as they thought Canelo was going to win. So, and it's not an upset. Not an upset at all. So, I think, Terence Crawford put on probably one... I think that was probably the most dominant performance he's done moving up a weight class since he fought Jeff Horn. And go back and watch that fight against Jeff Horn. He absolutely dominated Jeff Horn. Beat the buggery out of him. And everyone was thinking, well, most Aussies were thinking, well, if Jeff Horn clips him, Terence Crawford's going to be in trouble. Horn couldn't lay a glove on him. And Canelo barely laid a glove on him. And the times that Canelo did lay a glove on him, he stood up to the power. So, I mean, the movement, the footwork, he was dominant from the opening bell. By round 6, he was up 6-0. Well, I think 5 rounds to 1, at best 4 rounds to 2. I think by the 6th round, he was up 5 rounds to nothing. Canelo didn't really win around until like round 9. And it was all over by then. So, I don't want to hear any excuses from Canelo, because I've got none. There are no excuses. Canelo was beat by an older, smaller, less inactive man. So, I mean, people have had to say, oh, Canelo should be embarrassed. I'm like, yeah, he should be. I mean, in retrospect, you just got your ass kicked by an older, weaker man. You should be embarrassed by that. He just got his ass handed to him. Well, but he got dominated by an older, weaker, less inactive man. So Canelo should be a little bit embarrassed by that. So, am I going to sink the boots into Canelo? No, because I think maybe because he's had 65 fights, so maybe it's all just catching up with him. We've been thinking that for a while, that maybe, all these things were catching up to him because he looked like shit against William Skull. But then again, as the chump brought up and he said, well, how many elite fighters are in the super middleweight division? It's like, well, not many. So when you fight another elite fighter, you find out who's who. So, and I have to eat my words again about possibly Inoue fighting Tank. Because, Inoue fighting Tank. I mean, I thought that Tank would friggin' knock the fuck out of Inoue. Now, looking at that, it's a possibility that Inoue could beat Tank. But Tank's wasting his time fighting Jake Paul, so don't get me started on that shit. But, fantastic performance by Terence Crawford, who I had the pleasure of meeting earlier in the year. So I can say that I've met the 3-time undefeated champion. I mean, he was 2-time undisputed champion when I met him, but, and I have to say that, I got to keep eating this egg because I got to eat the egg off my face, is that I owe Terence an apology. Because I thought Canelo would beat the absolute dog shit out of him. Because, he was a bigger, stronger, more active man. I thought Terence Crawford was going to get the piss kicked out of him. Or at least go to a 12-round decision where the fight didn't have nothing going for it. So, and Crawford's just proved he's one of the most elite, he's the most elite fighter on the planet. So, I'd still say Usyk is still number one because he beat so many guys who were far bigger than him, right? But you'd have to argue if Crawford's not number one, he's certainly number 2. But I'll leave that for you guys in the comment section. Make your comments. People are going to come after me saying, oh, I'm full of shit. And, Crawford was always going to win. It's like, yeah, okay, fuck you dickheads. You're allowed to be wrong. Just because my opinion, based on the facts that were presented to me, right? On paper, Canelo should have destroyed Crawford inside of 3 rounds. On paper. But Crawford is the exception, not the rule. Go and find me another welterweight that could blow up to 147, to blow up to 168 and dominate in that division. It ain't going to fucking happen. Crawford is the exception, not the rule. That's why he's so great, because he's an exception to the rule. Most 147-pounders like Boots Ennis, if Boots Ennis moved up to 168, I guarantee you'd probably get knocked the fuck out. So, find me another 147er who's going to move up to super middle and beat the champion. Now, remember, Crawford's only had one fight at super middle. One. So, one fight. Where this is the reason why I think Usyk is still on top as pound for pound number one, because Usyk's had 7 fights at heavyweight. He beat Joshua twice. He beat Daniel Dubois twice. He beat Fury twice. Crawford's only had one fight. Did Canelo have a bad night? I don't think so. I think he was just beaten by a guy who was better prepared and a far superior boxer. I think Canelo didn't step it up as much as he should. But then again, Canelo's injuries catching up to him. Let me tell you something. It's not age that worries you, it's injuries. Canelo's only 33, 34. Crawford's almost 38. But Crawford looked a hell of a lot. By the end of that fight, Canelo looked absolutely shot. Crawford looked great. So, at the end of the day, it's injuries, not age, that catches up with you. Let me tell you, injuries just get worse as time goes on, and they'll catch up to you. So if you get, I served in the army for 10 years. I know 25-year-olds that are virtual cripples because of what happened to them in the army. I know a lot of guys who have had multiple surgeries before they turn 30, right? And it shoots them to shit. They're 45. I know some guys who are in their 40s now, they have walkers because of the injuries they suffered in their time in the military. So it's not age, it's injuries that weary you, and injuries just get worse over time. I'll speak to you from experience. So, but fantastic effort by Terence Crawford. I'm still eating the egg. It's on my face. Actually, this turned out really shit. I cooked it this morning. And please feel free to laugh at this. This is a bit of comedy in the video. So if you want to laugh and say you're eating the egg off your face, I don't give a fuck. Please do. But don't come after me and say, oh, you were wrong. Yeah, I'm allowed to be fucking wrong. No one's a bloody expert, right? No one can get it right 100% of the fucking time. Based on the facts given to me, Canelo should have kicked the living piss out of Crawford, but he didn't, right? Simple as that. Move on. Crawford won. He's the better fighter. Fantastic. Crawford's now, you'd have to argue one of the best fighters of all time. Better than Floyd ever was. Floyd never became undisputed. So, but anyway, that's my thought on the fight. I'm going to do another video of T Street very shortly. So as always, tackle the ball, wrestle, crock, hating yourselves a fuck up. Like, share, and subscribe. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.